When Roger Federer announced his retirement from the sport of tennis, it left, of course, a lot of shock and sadness among fans and experts alike. But at the same time, he had also announced that he would be playing his final tournament in the 2022 Laver Cup, which, of course, naturally meant that interest in the Laver Cup shot up to an all-time high. Ticket prices, which were pretty high, went higher, they sold out, and naturally the world of tennis, and in fact people all over the world, are now watching with bated breath as a true legend of the game will be playing his last match. However, Federer recently made a pretty interesting revelation about the nature of that match, because as it turns out, he won't be playing a singles match at the Laver Cup. No, he'll only be playing a doubles match. And while that might seem like a bit of a disappointment, especially considering the fact that the last time some fans saw him in singles action, he was getting knocked out of the Wimbledon quarterfinals in 2021 against Hubert Hurkacz. Now, obviously, that is a bit of a disappointment that that is going to be his final singles match and not, in fact, a match in the Laver Cup or any other tournament. But as it turns out, this is something that Federer knew ahead of time, and that is why he planned it out accordingly. So he had been giving a few interviews to, of course, local Swiss media, and some of the things he said were pretty pertinent and actually showcased not only his mindset as to playing in this particular tournament, but also why it is that he chose to retire in general. Now, speaking on, of course, the Laver Cup, he said that it was already pretty clear that I would only be playing doubles. That's why playing the Swiss indoors in Basel was no longer an option. Now, of course, you doubtless remember that Federer had made an announcement that he would be playing the Swiss indoor tournament in Basel that would be taking place in October 2022. In fact, it was even confirmed by the organizers, and Federer himself had commented on the Instagram page saying, "Can't wait to see you." But just last week, the bombshell of his retirement dropped. And well, as it turns out, he won't be playing in the Basel tournament. And now it is, why? Because in his own words, the nature of his injury was such that he wasn't quite able to heal up. And even now that he is in some ways match fit, he doesn't really see himself being fit enough or good enough to be playing a singles match, which is why he'll only be playing a doubles match. And in his own words, he'll most likely be partnering Rafael Nadal. So that in itself will be a sight to behold, doubtless, for tennis fans. But it is still a little saddening that we won't be able to see the man in singles action one more time. However, the main reason for that, as I said, was of course the nature of his injury, and he did elaborate on that just a little bit. He said that, and he elaborated on this whilst talking about his decision to retire. He said that the knee just wasn't progressing anymore. So I found myself asking myself, what is the point? We had been on thin ice for a long time. So now, of course, you know for a fact that after, he was dealing with this knee problem even during Wimbledon 2021, which is pretty evident because if you remember the last set, he ended up getting bageled by Hurkacz. He didn't look like he was moving at full flow. And the reason for that, as people would find out a few days later, was because he had a knee injury and he had to undergo double knee surgery right after the tournament. That in itself put his long-term future in some serious doubt. But what made things worse that even before that double knee surgery, he had another surgery on his knee, and so that meant that in the span of about a year, he'd had 3 surgeries on the knee. That in itself meant that a comeback, if it happened at all, would have been miraculous in itself. But as it turns out, that comeback won't really be happening. And Federer revealed also, interestingly, that he knew that he would be announcing his retirement after this year's Wimbledon, which was of course held in July 2022. He's saying that I found that the knee injury which I had, rehab from that wasn't really going well. I wasn't able to actually move in full flow. It wasn't progressing up to the point where I would be able to play tennis on a regular basis, and due to that I took the call of retiring. But this isn't the only reason why he took that call so easily in the end, because as he reveals, he says that one of the reasons he also chose to retire was his wife, Mirka. Now, you guys would all know for a fact that Mirka has been an ever-constant presence in Roger's, professional life as well. She's always seen in his matches, and she's in fact his manager as well. So she's basically managing not only, of course, his, off-court life, but also on-court life. They do make a call together on which tournaments it is that he would be playing, which ones he'd be skipping, all of these things. So, as he put it, he's saying that that one of the reasons he did retire in the end was to actually ease some of that burden off his wife, because in his own words, she wasn't really enjoying watching him play anymore, and it was taking a bit of a toll on her. As he says here, saying that the last few years were hard for me, but they were even harder for Mirka. She really didn't enjoy watching me play anymore, and I felt kind of sorry for her. Now, elaborating on this, it's not just down to the fact that he felt sorry for his wife, but as Federer himself had admitted, earlier this year, he said that there is a life for me beyond tennis, and I am enjoying doing certain off-court things like being around for his children. Remember, he has 2 sets of twins. He's saying that being around for my children, helping them with their schoolwork, and just getting to spend that extra time with them, which of course is something that he wouldn't have had when he was playing full-time on the ATP tour. You know for a fact that the tennis tour, it's year-long, it's very long-winding, it's brutal, so you don't really get that much personal time away from the game. Federer himself had admitted in the past that he was enjoying this downtime and enjoying being able to spend time with his family, and that combined with the fact that his injury wasn't just healing anymore eventually was what compelled him to make the call to end his tennis career, even though by his own words he had previously said that he would love to be back in Wimbledon one more time, or at least playing regularly for another year or two. Things didn't quite work out for him, but his tennis career remains a great one regardless. Now, for me personally, I would have, of course, loved to have seen Federer play on a little longer. I, of course, was a fan of him when I was growing up. He was what brought me to the sport, but I totally understand the rationale behind why it was he chose to retire in the end. But what about you? Would you have liked to see, Federer maybe take a little time to heal and then come back stronger? Or do you think that he made the call at the right time considering both his age and recent injury history? Let us know in the comments below, and also let us know if you're excited to watch the Laver Cup. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as well as, of course, tapping that bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. Then you can go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. We're on all those platforms. And last but not least, download the Sports app for all of the breaking news updates, not just from the world of tennis, but the world of sport in general. Thank you all once again for joining us. As always, I've been Shane Reyes, and I hope to see you all through the day, but bye-bye for now.